What is going on, guys? Welcome back. I'm going to keep this as objective as possible. I'm going to lay out for you what took place. I'm going to have, hopefully, you respond in the comment section. I would love for people in the community to react to this. Also, for those worried about monetization, tomorrow's the day. So if you want to leave some support, certainly would appreciate it. This is a picture that Shantel put up, very cropped, of the kitten. In this, she says, here she is. She came out of hiding, but is still scared. Poor baby. Okay. This makes you feel as if the here she is Chantal taking this picture and showing the pet. However, the community used this picture to go back and determine that this picture was also used in this listing on Kijiji, which, from what I understand, is like a marketplace for pets. Now, in this, you can see that there are kittens for sale for $300, and they need rehomed in Gatineau. They do point out both the mother and father. They reiterate the price, and they indicate that they have 5 females, 2 males, that not all of them are pictured. Not all of them have vaccinations, but I do want you to pay attention to the fact that they are litter trained, that they are sweet and friendly, love to cuddle, curious, intelligent, highly social. Okay, why is all of this important? Because Chantal came online and talked about the conditions that this seller was keeping, which, Chantal, this makes you very much liable. So Chantal comes on and projects that she feels she, quote, rescued her from a bad situation or something. And then she goes on to say that she doesn't want to imply that there was mistreatment, but describes the home in which they were kept and the condition of said animals, using words like super dilated pupils, terrified, huddled together, indicating that she was concerned with, quote, what's wrong with them. She then gives a price point of $20 to $30. And she explains that after seeing the kitten, she had no other scenario that she could think of than to take the kitten to, quote, a better home. So the fact that this image that Chantal put up, we can very likely conclude is not hers, because she later put up a photo of this, saying this was the kitten. So we can conclude that that's not her photo. We can also conclude that the listing has removed this photo. And in fact, one of Chantal's comments, which has, I believe, since been removed, says that this is an image from the original ad where you purchase the cat from, which they indicated, well, if you're using the picture from the ad, maybe you don't even have the animal. However, Chantal's response to this was, why are you Googling the image to begin with? Which, of course, tells us Chantal never thought this was even a possibility. She felt she could just use the images from this advertisement and then presume that no one would ever connect it to this adoption. And then, of course, she'd already said some very, very poor things about this adoption and where these cats were kept, how she felt everything had kind of fallen into place. So it's odd that all of a sudden she would like a comment from Tracy and then mock the, quote, trolls. But the reality is, if Chantal truly did go purchase this animal from what appears to be a semi-reputable reseller, I'm not saying anything about the reseller. I'm just saying they clearly have a market where they're coming online and selling these animals. Chantal very much made herself liable for the derogatory, defamatory, and perhaps unproven comments that she made against these people, which maybe in Chantal's mind would never be reconnected to them. such as the amount of the cat being incorrect would, but now you can very clearly make these distinctions. So Shantel comes online, essentially proclaims that she has rescued an animal from a terrible situation. She gives an incorrect price point for said animal, and then she provides a photo from the listing that is then used to connect back to the original seller, that removes the image almost immediately once it's located, and then Chantal is removing comments that connect all of these things together. Why would that be, Chantal? This is why no one trusts even the simplest of things that you say, because you elect to try to manipulate things to gain sympathy and revenue. You wanted your audience to believe that you rescued this cat from a terrible situation so they could help fund you keeping this pet. Love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate you watching it. You know I'll be back as soon as I can with more commentary.